Never burn the ship that will get you to your destination, that will buy you financial freedom. Let me tell you what happened. When I still lived in Europe, I was building an investment portfolio, and at that time, it was at 250,000 euros. However, I was still broke. I had built that investment portfolio mainly from my job that I had for 15 years. I used to set aside some money for investments, and then from my business, I invested the most part of the money I was making. So that's how I was able to build that portfolio. Also, I never touched that amount of money. All the dividends that I was making, I reinvested them over and over again. So it compounded. However, my life was totally different. I had a decent amount of money in my investment account. However, my life reflected something completely different. This is the first time I share it, but I was basically homeless for 8 months. I had recently relocated from another country. I went back to my own country, the country that I'm from, and I didn't want to rent a place. Everything was so expensive, and I didn't want to give money to a shithole because most houses in my country are like, they're not even livable. I'm talking about they don't have warm water instantly. And there are other circumstances that I'm not going to mention in this video. However, the rent prices were astronomical. And I'm okay with paying for a house that it's decent, a high amount of money. But I saw that disconnection and I refused. I was stubborn. I refused to pay that amount of money. So I was sleeping to family members. I was sleeping on their couch. I had no other source of income at that time. And I was miserable. I was desperate. No source of income, no car, no house, no nothing. I was really struggling. However, I refused to touch that ship, because this is the ship that will take you to your financial destination. I imagine that investment portfolio as soldiers, as an army. Every euro or every dollar is a soldier, a single soldier, and all of them together, they form an army, and this army is fighting for your future, is fighting for your financial freedom. So yes, I needed to make some sacrifices, not have a car. I was taking the bus every day. I didn't even have a house to live, and live a life way beyond my means so that I wouldn't have to touch that portfolio. At some point, I was so miserable. I wanted to travel. I wanted to live like a human being. I wanted to improve my situation. It was so miserable. Like, I can't even describe to you. I was living in a shithole. Shitty food, crappy food every day. No future, no income, no job, no nothing. And I was like, that's it, I'm done. I'm gonna take part of that money and travel the world, live the way I wanna live, be happy. But that would be the biggest mistake of my life. I am so glad I didn't do it. So if you're struggling right now, struggle more. I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's more important to sacrifice a few years, even if that's 2 years, 5 years of your life now that you're young, and then build something. This compounds. The more you reinvest the dividends or whatever that might be, if you're building a business, if you're building something, stay with the frustration. I know how it feels like. I know that it's a struggle. I know you feel desperate, but don't burn your ship. Your ship, in my case at that time, was my investment portfolio. That's all I had. In your case, it might be a social media account, a business, a side hustle, whatever you're building. Don't burn it. Stay with the frustration to buy a better future. It's worth it.